Well, I finished up another custom ordered knife, and this is kind of a special one because this will be the last knife that I ever make from this workshop, because I'm moving and I'm not sure when I'll be able to get set up making knives again in the new place, but this will be the last one from here. And so I'm glad it's kind of a badass one. This was ordered by a guy who wants a knife to kill a wild pig with, and so I just couldn't pass up taking that job. So this knife is pretty much a purpose-built pig killing knife, I guess. It's a pig sticker for sure. If I can get it out of the sheath here. I gotta set the camera down for just a minute. So there's the blade. You can see it definitely has an old and rustic look to it. I'm a little bit nervous about that. I hope the buyer likes it. I'm a little worried I might have gone somewhat overboard with that. The rustic 19th century look was my idea that I pitched to him, and it seemed like he liked that idea, so hopefully it's not too rustic looking for him. The blade is forged, of course, and etched in ferric chloride for that dark look. It's a little bit bright along the midline of it from where it rubs in the sheath. Forged iron guard. The edge is not quite the fine razor edge that I usually put on knives, because this is, pretty much it's a purpose-built pig sticker, basically. So I put a little more of a durable kind of edge on it. I mean, it's still a finer edge than most knives out there, but compared to some of my other ones, it's not as thin at the edge. It has kind of a slight secondary bevel, because the main thing is to pierce that hide and do as much damage inside, and it has to go through all that tough bristly hair, and maybe with mud and stuff on it, and it also possibly might hit bone with a considerable amount of force. I also heat treated it a little softer than my usual. I usually heat treat my blades in a toaster oven, turned up as high as it goes, which is not very high. My knives typically I temper at a fairly low temperature for a harder blade than most people, because I always normalize them really well for a fine grain, which makes them tough so it can handle a harder, finer edge. But for this one, considering the hard use that it's going to be put through, I additionally to my normal tempering, I also did an old-fashioned temper with a torch and heated it up until basically it went purple down to the edge, purple, almost going into blue, which is probably close to the heat treat that you would see on like an old saber, or a sword that has to have a lot of flex to it. So it's definitely tough. Should have plenty of flex. It certainly would pass a 90-degree flex test. Probably wouldn't go back all the way to straight if you bent it 90 degrees. But I mean, if it's stuck in a pig, it's not actually going to bend that much. Certainly not enough to take any kind of a set. Really stuck in a pig, it probably wouldn't flex much at all, because it's either, most likely going to cut its way out and pull out of the pig, or it's going to pull the pig off of its feet, or worst case scenario, it'll pull out of your hand. You know, I don't think you couldn't bend this knife enough with your bare hands, even if you put it in a vise, to get it to take a set. So it has the forged iron guard, I think I already mentioned, which is a bit of a large guard, but on the other hand, it's not really that much bigger than the hand, and considering it's made for basically hand-to-hand combat with an animal with some pretty nasty teeth on it, you know, it's probably a good idea to have that, you know, at least, you know, that amount of protection for your hand. You know, rounded on the ends, so it's, you know, not quite as likely to catch on things. And the handle is a piece of oak, which I put a kind of a texture on with a rasp and left it that way for some extra grip. That's one of the things where I hope it's not too rough looking. It didn't exactly come out the way that I had envisioned it. I had thought that I would be able to get the rasp marks kind of deeper in there, and also a little more regular looking, you know, maybe even with some kind of a pattern. But it's a pretty tough, hard piece of oak, so the rasp wasn't really going in that deep. But it did make a you know, a texture on there that definitely adds to the grippiness of it. Although you know, my theory on the grippiness of handles is that it has more to do, you know, having a secure grip on it has more to do with the shape of the handle than the texture of it. And so I've also designed this with that in mind. It has kind of, you know, a swell in the middle and flares out at the butt, so it would be very difficult for it to pull out of your hand. It's also kind of wide and thin, so it won't tend to roll very much. And of course it has a hand guard, so your hand can't slip up. So all in all, it's pretty much the best pig killing knife that I could come up with, and I think it'll do pretty well for that. The sheath is, you know, it's a little bit more of a modern design just in terms of practicality, because, you know, you have to carry it as a hunting knife, and you want it to be easy to carry and have that snap on there for security. But I really like the way that two-tone dye job comes out on it. Kind of has that antique look to it, but basically just pretty simple. Basically my typical Bowie sheath. And let's see, I don't know what else I can tell you about it. The cutting edge is about 9.5 inches plus a little bit of a ricasso there. And I guess that's about it. So, you know, the buyer, hopefully he likes it. Definitely a pretty good project for my last knife from this place, and it went pretty well. This is only the second one of these double-edged blades that I've done. You'd come across the video on my other Arkansas Toothpick, and wanted me to make him a pig hunting knife because of that. On that one, getting it to come out straight was really a tough job. I actually had to go through the heat treating process 3 times on it to get it to come out straight, because with the 2 edges it really adds to the difficulty. But this one, I was kind of expecting the same thing, but this one went into the quench and came out nice and straight the first time. The guard actually gave me the most trouble on this knife. I forged the guard and wasn't quite happy with it, so forged another one and didn't like that either, and forged a third one and didn't like that either, and finally went back to the first one and tweaked it a little bit and got to where it seemed like it was pretty good, and finally got that to work out. But guess that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you sometime soon at the new place with some more knives or other things. I'd like to do some more air gun videos and some stuff like that. You know, definitely by some point this summer. Hopefully it doesn't take that long to get some more videos going. But that's it. Thanks for watching.